and welcome to another episode of the Conversationeers, our second one, in fact. So, look, we're doing this on a somewhat regular basis, it appears. I am joined once again by my lovely co-host, Jay, and I think we may have a surprise third host this time around. Would you like to introduce our new fantastic host person, Jay?
Yeah. So Caleb Zokoe is our new co-host. He is a good friend of ours from back in church days, and I think he adds a lot to our group. We have a lot in common, but he brings some really interesting ideas.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting. I know you've known him for a lot longer than me, because he was just, I think when I started to get more involved at our church, he was kind of becoming less involved because he got a new job.
You mean by leaving? You mean leaving? By
yes,
less involved, you mean
yes.
leaving.
I know I've seen you randomly just wandering around maybe like a couple Sundays, but yeah, you pretty much aren't really there anymore. So I'm kind of excited to get to know him a little bit better through this, so that's going to be exciting. And from everything that I've heard, I've listened to his episode on your podcast, Jay, so I got to know a little bit about him through that. I thought that was pretty cool. So I'm excited to get to know him a bit better, and I think we're the three of us.
Which one? I did 2 on his.
Did you? Oh, the one that was...
I did the Enneagram.
One of them had terrible audio because I was in midst of microphone issues.
Was that the Enneagram one?
Yeah.
I think the one I listened to was the one that mentioned like N64 games in the title. And I think that... Yeah,
that was the first
one. That was the good one.
Okay, that was the good one. Yeah.
That was the good one.
The good one.
I don't know if I should take that personally, but...
No, it was good as in better in quality of recording.
And as you can tell, I'm in prison, so...
Yeah, that does kind
of... You need to be able to tell Caleb and I apart. I'm the one with the PBR. He's the one with the good beer.
Well, it kind of looks like you're outside somewhere in like an alley behind like a brick wall, just like chilling there with a beer.
He's behind the bar.
Like he just hopped out of a club to do a podcast.
Or in an unfinished basement. You know, all the same.
Yeah, it works. So this episode, we are hoping to be a little bit more structured. I actually did a fancy show doc so we can not just ramble on incoherently like we kind of did last time. So I hope you all enjoy that at home. So that should be super, super fantastic. I hope. So, you guys got anything to add to my ramblings, or should we just kind of start moving along?
Well, I'm just really excited to get into some of these topics with you guys. I found out over Christmas that we are all Nintendo Switch fanatics. Caleb got a Nintendo Switch probably about the same time I did.
You've joined the Switch cult. Welcome.
If we're ever at a loss of things to talk about, we can talk about Nintendo Switch.
Exactly.
So I'm new to it, so I wouldn't say I'm a fanatic. You know, we do play a lot. We don't have a ton of games, but I'm definitely enjoying the versatility of the old Switch. So.
Yeah, I was talking to some coworkers about it, and we came to the conclusion the Switch is like the perfect console for like 30-somethings with careers and stuff to do, just because it's so versatile.
or with kids, because you know, if your kid wants to play a video game and you're like, no, I'm watching TV, you can just let them play Switch.
Yep.
So.
Exactly. Or parenting 101.
Thanks, first world problems.
There you go. I don't have kids, but I do use it like that sometimes when my wife wants to watch something that I really don't care about.
Exactly. Yep.
So my parenting win is my daughter Vivian likes to watch me play Zelda. She requests to watch me play Zelda. It's like,
and you're like, no, please,
that is awesome.
Don't make me do that.
I let her feed Link. That's her thing. She gets to feed Link.
Oh, just feed, or does she get to cook too?
I let her cook too.
Okay.
But she's really good at making dubious food.
Wow, way to really play into those stereotypes, huh, Jay? She can cook and feed.
She requests to. I would never make her.
They're saying she's not allowed to do the dungeons and solve the puzzles and use her brain.
That's a man's job.
That's some good messaging there, Jane.
Oh boy, we better get away from that one.
You know where you belong.
Oh dear. Oh dear. Hashtag we're joking.
Yeah.
Yes.
Speaking of which, let's talk about a Gillette ad.
Yes. So
Good
this
segue.
we're segueing into. I called this the water cooler segment. So before we get into the main topic, because I figure there's always going to be stuff that we're going to want to talk about each week that's sort of separate from the main topic. And I think if we sort of get out of that way, can't talk. That's why I do a podcast. If we get that stuff out of the way beforehand, then maybe we can somewhat focus on the main topic later on. So
Can we get like a cool water cooler graphic to go across the screen?
I could, but I might be too lazy to do it because I've already done a whole bunch of graphical work. If I feel like it, maybe I will. But now
So,
I
like,
kind
just in the corner.
just like pops
Chauvinist.
up. What? Saying the water cooler is chauvinist? I'm confused. I do have a glass of water right here. Imagine this is a water cooler just going across the screen. There you go. So anyway, this there's a Gillette Fusion ad. Well, they call it a short film. Have both of you guys watched this? This was like all over
just
Twitter
watched
today.
it.
Yeah, it was like blowing up my timeline. Everyone was retweeting it, and I was like, "Wow, Gillette Fusion did like a deep ad," and I'm like, "What?"
I watched it and then I read some comments. I went, "Why did I read comments again?
Don't do
Why am I
that.
doing this?"
How dare you
Just
suggest
this
that
will
people
show
try
up
to
on
be
the Super
better?
Bowl.
Maybe.
I don't know.
I hope
pretty-
it does,
it's pretty
so people
long.
complain
I
about
hope
it.
it does.
It's pretty.
I don't know. We've seen a few short film type things during the Super Bowl.
Yeah. Well, the only reason I say
Maybe a shorter version of it.
it would just be more expensive. I mean, it's gonna be more expensive to run
Yeah.
a 2.5 minute ad on the Super Bowl when it's like $1 million a second. So
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm confused what people are finding offensive about it. I'm like,
Yeah.
you should be better.
I think
That's
it's
offensive. How dare you suggest that you don't like bully and sexually harass people?
Don't get me wrong. I thought the ad was great, but I totally understand why men who are that way would be upset by it. You know, like,
Yeah.
what do you mean I can't yell at women and whistle at them?
Man.
I'm a man. I'm 40.
Yep.
Oh gosh.
I mean, if you think about it, if you're that type of person and you're
Yeah.
being called out, you're not going to like being called out. Nobody likes being called out. So
That's true. I just thought it was fairly tasteful. It wasn't like, look at all these
I did
awful
too.
people.
Right.
You know, let's shun them and throw stuff on it. It was just like, hey, let's try to be better. Let's all encourage each other and be better and get rid of these toxic.
Somebody put like, not all men are that way, and I'm like, the ad didn't say all men are.
It
terrible.
literally showed other men helping other men to be better.
Now, are there men that are terrible? Yeah.
I just kept thinking about the actors that they had to get to play those poor roles. I mean, a lot of them were like
Right.
older video clips, but some of them were more current. It's like, man, you don't want to be that guy being cast as the chauvinist.
Yeah, no one wants to be that guy. But
Again, just avoid all comments on all social media platforms. So
Yep. Never read the comments. There's usually good ones too, but it's like just the amount of bad ones is always disheartening, and it's like, oh,
Yep. They always
sad
outweigh 'em.
panda, sad panda.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was really cool. I gave it a retweet, and I didn't get insulted or called any profane words, so I guess that's a win, which sometimes happens when I retweet stuff like that. So that's cool. That's cool. Glad you guys enjoyed that too.
Are we going to have some sort of like show notes, or I know in some other podcasts they have like links in the actual description of the podcast that people can click on links like this?
I mean, I legitimately could just cut and paste what we have into the bottom because that's my work ethic. Though to be fair, we are doing a podcast, so I think I
Just
already
figured
have some of you
it'd be easy
beat.
to do.
Yeah, I got all the links in our show doc, so I'll probably just cut and paste that into the description. So if you want to check out any of the things we are talking about today or tonight or whenever you listen to this, because it's not live, go ahead and do that. Another thing I think we all probably saw maybe is Game of Thrones Season 8 teaser. Can you guys check that out?
Yeah. Caleb, are you a Game of Thrones guy?
No. So I
Aw.
know a lot about it, but I haven't really watched it. So I would like to watch it, but my wife is anti Game of Thrones, and when your wife is anti something, you can't watch it. It makes it hard to watch.
It's
So.
true.
Yeah.
Just
I thought it was pretty interesting. It really looked like there wasn't any sort of actual content in it. I think it's all made for this teaser trailer.
Yeah.
But
It was kind of cool though, because it was like, very like symbolic of them going in the cave, all the Stark kids in the caves and the catacombs, looking at statues of themselves. That was really well done.
which
And
means they're dead, right?
they're all dead. The show's just going to end with everyone dead.
I was wondering if that's how they were going to end it, just based on how much death there is in that show. I mean, what?
I hope the final shot is just like the lead White Walker winking at the camera.
Those three characters
Pile
have
of
kind of been
bodies.
the enduring characters, though.
Right,
So
right, sure.
to see them as dead would be.
Maybe it's like Lost, # spoiler alert, and they've been dead the whole time,
Sort of. Have they really been dead? Because that was just really the flash forward scenes in the last season. I mean, if we're going to talk about last.
No, Lost. Haven't you ever seen Lost?
Yes. They weren't
Yeah,
dead
they
the
were
whole
all
time.
dead the whole time.
No, they
yeah,
weren't.
they were.
No,
The final episode is them in like heaven. Like hey.
Yeah, okay. So the flash forwards is them sort of in heaven, but it doesn't mean the stuff on the island still happened.
No, I took it as they've
no.
been dead the whole time.
So basically they're all in heaven in the same place because time is, I guess, non-linear, and they all died at different points, and they all got to spend sort of purgatory together and move on, even though they all sort of had those fates on the island and still got off, but the island is real. I'm fairly certain that's the ending.
Jay, you're not a Lost fan?
Sorry, I can't.
Okay, we just spoiled Lost for you. I'm sorry, Jay.
I said # spoiler alert. So.
No, I know enough about it that the last episode was pretty. A lot of people that I know that have watched it thought the last episode was pretty non-resoluting.
I liked it.
So I'm just going to say that is not the perspective that I took from that
Really?
last episode. For me, I was like, oh, they were dead the whole time? But maybe I just misunderstood what they were going
See,
for.
I've heard people say what you're saying before, but I've heard tons of people also agree with me. So I don't know if it's one of those things where it's open for interpretation or if there's a set intended ending. But I can sort of see how it could be seen by both ways. But
I like your way of thinking better, because my way of thinking, I was like, oh, that's the worst ending ever.
yeah, see that's my
and that's
theory.
kind of
why
what
people
I
didn't-
heard from a lot of people.
That's my theory is why people didn't like it, because I think if I'm right, then it's a lot better of an ending.
Correct. Absolutely.
Yeah, because because why I took it, it was that just the flash forwards in the last seasons with them in heaven and everything else actually happened, but because everyone dies and because of their connection, they all got to basically be in purgatory at the same time. I think.
Got it.
That's what I think. I don't know. Whatever.
Hey, again, I like that better. I'll take that interpretation, because my interpretation is utter disappointment.
Sad panda. Yeah, China's
Hey,
all
going back to Game of Thrones though, quickly, David. I heard a rumor that a lot of people think that Bronn? Is it Bronn, the boy, the one-eyed
Bran.
Bran?
I think it's Bran.
Bran. I gotta get caught up on names again. There's so many names. Bran. I've heard a theory that a lot of people think Bran is the Night King.
Like the White Walker.
Yeah,
King?
the what's his name? The Night King or the?
I forget. I just call
Anyway,
him the big White
I've heard
Walker
a theory.
dude.
A lot of people think that they are the same person, and there's a lot of connections there. What are your thoughts on that?
I don't know. That sounds a little much.
There's always been kind of a connection between those two. That's.
I mean, yeah. I don't know. It just seems
Gotta be
that's
some
gonna
big
get
reveal.
weird. I mean, but then again, we have some sort of time travel-y stuff kind of getting involved with like all that weird stuff that happened with Holdor. So
Yeah.
maybe who knows? Like
I just think that there has to be some big reveal like that, like in Lost, they were dead all along, or there's some big thing.
It's going to be interesting, as I know that George R. R. Martin says he wants to end the books differently than the show, so we might get 2 separate endings. So at least if one sucks, I guess we'll always have the other to go to. But
Okay.
yeah,
I'm good with it. I'm excited
good.
for it. We've
Well,
got
and
some
there's
time
a
to wait.
there's a spin-off too, right?
Yeah, probably multiple, but they're working on at least one. I know they've been trying to basically start as many spin-offs as possible. But
Will it like what's the time frame for the spin-off? Do you know? Like, is it
I
pre?
have
I think there was some
during?
prequel stuff.
I think it's mostly prequel stuff, but I'm not positive. But it's gonna be different showrunners because Benioff and Weiss, who run Game of Thrones, are basically going to be doing Star Wars movies after this for like it's a series of Star Wars
TV
movies.
series, right?
No, they're not. They're doing the
They've got
movies.
the movie.
Yeah, they're going to be taking over the movies post episode 9, but we don't know what they're going to be other than that they're doing them, and they're probably not going to be episode 10, 11, 12. So
Right.
who knows? Old Republic. That's what I believe.
That'd be cool.
Bring back Jar Jar.
The Darth Jar Jar, the origin story. You know,
Jar
it's
Jar,
real.
Sith Lord.
Exactly, it's true. Have you guys read that theory on the internet? The Darth Jar Jar theory?
No.
No. Oh, dude, you got to look it up. It works so well. I think it's even been. I think Ryan Johnson even joked about it being like his favorite fan theory was Darth Jar Jar. The idea is that Jar Jar is really secretly a Sith Lord and basically manipulated the entire events of the prequel.
Maybe he's the one that
prequels.
turns into Stoke.
Snoke.
Snoke. Sorry. Yes.
For shame.
Not the English soccer team.
Yeah. No.
Yes.
Although maybe he turns into the English soccer team.
I'm not sure. Well, if you read, if you've read any of the books, he actually ends up as like a disgraced court jester.
Oh boy,
Yeah, he's like just this because
back
everyone's
to
mad at
normal?
him. Yeah,
that's a good place for him to end up.
or like a clown, I guess more. But everyone basically shunned him in society because he basically his vote like helped create the
Because he's
empire.
Jar Jar.
Yeah, so he's just like this clown, like entertaining children, and everyone shuns him on Naboo, and is really sad.
That's funny.
Yeah. Anywho, what else we got? China just grew a plant on the moon.
Saw that.
Supposedly, I know there's conspiracy theories already about China being on
It's a
the moon.
hoax.
So my question is, did they plant it on the moon or did they plant it on Earth, fly it to the moon, and then it grow? Does anyone know?
I'm not sure exactly how they did it.
Clear.
They have
I
pictures.
just
It
wondered.
looks like it's in soil. So I think
I would assume it went as a seed and
yeah.
grew there.
I think it looked like there was a container or something over it, so maybe they just had some special device that would like go down to the earth, drop seeds, and then create the right conditions in the soil or something. I don't know. I honestly
It
didn't read
looks
that.
to me like it was a setup like one of those hydro seed things where they can grow plants without soil. That's what it looked like. The picture looked like to me.
So you're saying we
Right.
can grow weed on the moon?
Yeah,
Apparently.
it's probably legal there.
Well, I mean,
Everything's legal there, right? I mean, there's no
yes.
system of government.
I mean, there's an American flag there, but now China's on the dark side of the moon. So, I don't know. We can have like a whole capitalism versus communism on the moon war, Cold War.
Come
Don't
to
worry.
the dark side.
Space
Very-
Force will.
Yep.
Space Force will take care of it.
It'd be a very cold war because there's no atmosphere. I thought that was funny. I'm done. Yeah, I don't really have any more to add to that. Spider-Man just dropped today. That was pretty exciting. Or trailer, not the movie. The trailer did. Far From Home.
Yeah,
I didn't get a chance to watch it yet.
I saw it. So I just saw Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse on Friday, and so I'm still buzzing from that. And so watching this, it was like, yeah, this is good, but I really enjoyed Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. If you guys haven't seen it, oh my gosh.
Everyone's telling me that, and I need to see it, but I've yet to.
What was so good about it? I've heard it's awesome, but I don't.
So soundtrack is incredible, very diverse, all different backgrounds of people input on the soundtrack, and then the animation style. A lot of it is hand drawn, but very just like it's almost like they had a very low frame rate. So it's like almost like a 20 frames per second sort of thing, but just like a huge homage to the comic book style. So if you remember, have you ever seen Scott Pilgrim versus the World?
Yes.
A lot of visual sounds, like they, it's like door shuts and it goes bang, or just a lot of things like that they just do really beautifully. And then there's times like in the movie where it's like you're watching it and you think a shot is real, like it's just very beautiful. And then the storyline is just amazing. Just that whole anybody can be the superhero, anybody can be behind the mask idea, and it's just so outside the box, so outside of any other superhero movie that we've seen. Just so many things about it were I was just like, and I went in knowing, just like you said, David, everybody's been saying it's awesome, so I went in knowing that this is supposed to be good, and so I was kind of expecting to be let down, and it surpassed. I mean, there's just no way to go into that movie and expect what you get. It's just so incredible. Okay. Yeah, I would highly recommend it.
I've seen a few clips of the really weird Spider-Man, like the one that's like a pig, and then one that's like an anime girl who controls a robot.
Yep. It's,
was it like Spider-Ham or something like that?
Spider-Ham, and then the Spider-Girl is the little anime girl, and then Nicolas Cage plays the Spider-Man Noir or whatever. It's like a black and white Spider-Man, and it's like on paper it's just like, this is ridiculous, but like they execute it so well. It's pretty incredible.
Yeah, I'm down to see it. The more I've heard about it, the more excited I've got. When I first saw the trailer, I thought it looked like, this looks like a made-for-video Spider-Man cartoon.
Yeah, I was like, I might see this if it gets over 50% Rotten Tomatoes. Yeah.
Yeah, when I saw the Spider-Ham, I thought, that's going to be terrible.
No, I was so skeptical. Yes, totally agree.
Spider-Pig.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, exactly.
That's whatever Spider-Pig does.
Yep. They don't sing that song, do they?
But anyway, the going back to that new trailer, I really liked Homecoming. I've really liked Spider-Man and the whole MCU thing. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I watch pretty much every Marvel movie, so I think this will be right in line with a lot of those. I think it'll be interesting. I don't know if it's going to be more of a lighthearted movie, kind of like what whatchamacallit was, Ant-Man was right after Avengers came out, because everybody, well, I'm not going to spoil anything, but what happened in the last Avengers movie, they had to have something lighthearted, so I don't know if that's going to be in that same realm, or if it's going to be a movie like, I mean, it seems like it's have an actual, deep storyline from what the trailer showed.
What's really weird is this movie's coming out after Avengers Endgame, so it's almost kind of spoiling things a little bit. Just the fact about who's present in that trailer. I'm like, huh.
Yep.
So,
well, but
unless it's
are the time frames in line, or are their time frames different?
I think Kevin Feige, the producer, has said that it's supposed to take place after Endgame. So I think it's.
Oh,
I think so.
I thought it was before. That was.
Yeah.
I thought. I mean, I don't know.
That would make, I guess, sort of sense, but I think it would be kind of weird to put a post-Infinity War movie after Endgame. Sure. I don't know. Yeah. Or there was a theory I read on Reddit that maybe the whole thing is the whole Spider-Man movies actually weird, not real, and it takes place inside a universe within the Spirit Stone.
Oh, parallel universe.
Yeah. And that's the place where everyone. Oh, okay, never mind. I might give a spoiler. I'll stop talking about the end of Infinity War. But
unless you've seen the movie, it's not a spoiler.
Yes, I mean at this point it's out on Blu-ray.
You're talking about the Avengers. And what is that? What's that movie called? Avengers
Infinity War?
Infinity War.
Yes. So I'm not to give a spoiler for that, but honestly,
yes.
I mean, Caleb ruined Lost, so I think I can ruin Infinity War. So
there's a little bit of a time gap between the two there.
So okay, stop right now if you've not seen Infinity War. Thank you. So yeah, everyone's dead. Half of everyone is dead.
Half of everybody.
There's been a theory that they didn't actually die and they got sent to like a universe within the Spirit Stone, and they're all sort of in there. So there's a theory that maybe this entire movie takes place inside the Spirit Stone.
Well, what's Ant-Man's back in the trailer for that End Games, right?
Oh, Ant-Man didn't get dusted. He was just lost in the quantum realm.
Oh.
Yeah, everyone on the other side of the quantum realm got dusted, and he was just like left there. He's just like, guys, where are you?
Yeah, that's right.
I'm here as a quantum particle. This isn't fun. So I don't know how he gets out of that. That seems kind of a bad situation to be in, but...
Yeah, the whole parallel universe is a really interesting thing to think about. Even with Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse that I just saw, they kind of touch on some parallel universe. It doesn't intersect obviously with any of the Marvel stuff, but or the MCU stuff, but it's just interesting things to think about. Obviously, they can go and do some pretty crazy things if you start involving parallel universe stuff. So
right,
like Star Wars
crossover.
Are any of you Parks and Rec fans?
Yeah, yes. I've seen it. Yes, I know what you're referencing.
Okay. All right, good. So I'll make sure. That's where I was going.
I actually need to rewatch that. I'm just finishing up a complete rewatch of The Office, so I might move on to Parks and Rec next.
Just one?
Just one?
Just one rewatch?
Well, I'm not going to do it back to back.
Just so you know, I have watched the entire seasons of both The Office and Parks and Rec at least 10 times.
Oh my gosh. Okay, that's
You're a monster.
I do that to movies.
Shows,
There's not many television shows I will watch that much, with the exception of I think Arrested Development, which I've watched.
There's always money in the banana stand.
The banana stand. There's always money in the banana stand.
There's always money in the banana stand. But it's one of those things you can just kind of turn it on and it can just be playing in the background. You're not necessarily watching every
exactly
like you did the first time.
Yep.
Yeah. They're just great. They're so bingeable. They just like 20 minutes is gone just like that.
Yeah.
And that 20 minutes will never come back.
Well, that's how I am. We were big into How I Met Your Mother, and so anytime How I Met Your Mother is on TV, I just flip it on.
Yeah.
Right.
So interesting.
Yep.
Cool.
All right. We probably should get moving along because we probably should try to get started on the main topic at least the half-hour mark. Sorry, halfway there, and we haven't even talked about what the title of this episode is. So
we're becoming close friends.
There you go. So real quick, the last couple things I put on this list was Netflix is raising prices, which sucks. Thoughts? Everyone thinks it sucks, right?
It's $2. Who cares?
That's true. Though I think, I mean, I have it's annoying.
It's longer at work.
Yeah.
I mean, we all use it all the time. I mean, who's going to... $2, I'm not going to use it. I'm going to go watch regular TV?
Yeah, if the content is good. If the content is good, then I'll pay it.
Right.
Once Disney Plus swings around with their streaming service, I think... I don't know, maybe Netflix will get a little bit more competitive in pricing because they're going to actually have real competition. But
once Disney does their thing, once Apple does their thing, there's going to be some. I think it's good competition.
Yeah, I think it'll help. But now I'll pay $60
I don't think all will
a month for
survive.
Netflix.
Yeah, I think if Apple and Disney survive, there's probably going to be a couple services that die off. I don't
like Comcast
coexist.
And I think what's going to die off is your major, DirecTV, that kind of stuff,
I think it'll eventually form into a big three of like Netflix, a Disney bundle, which will include ESPN and Hulu as one bundle because they own them all now, and then probably Amazon will be there because their service is actually pretty decent, and you can now add other channels through it. So I always
Amazon, they have a lot of money too.
Yeah. Like when I get HBO, I always do it through the Amazon app because it's way better than HBO's crappy app. So if I want one of these other services, a lot of them are available as sort of add-ons to Amazon. So the smaller ones.
Feel like such a sucker with Amazon. Like I have Amazon Prime, so I have this free service and I never use it. Like, why am I doing this?
There's just a couple of good shows. That we like.
they're really investing in programming though, but we're probably not going to see the fruits of that for a couple of years because they're doing a original Middle Earth Lord of the Rings TV show, and I think they have a couple other projects. But basically, Jeff Bezos basically said like, I want our Game of Thrones, make it, and so they're pushing like tons and tons of money into upcoming original programming. So I think it's going to get a lot better. With that,
Does that mean there's going to be like Frodo sex scenes then?
Yes.
That well is dry. With
No,
Frodo sex scenes are dry.
Aragorn scenes maybe, because the show's going to be about young Aragorn, like hundreds of years before. Not maybe not hundreds, because I can't remember how old he is. I think he's like 70 or something in Lord of the Rings. But yeah, so it'll probably be like 50 years or something before Lord of the Rings. Aragorn going around not being Viggo Mortensen. I don't know. So yeah. Okay, we should continue to move on. The only other thing I put was that cool gymnastic video that's going around Twitter that everyone's. I mean, it's not really a big news item, but it was just like, oh, this is cool. This makes me happy. I like this.
Yeah.
Everything
we need
sucks
more of that kind
on
of stuff.
CNN right now, and here's just this girl who's just so happy, being really talented.
And everybody around her was just so infectious. The music was cool.
Right.
Just to see everybody getting. I mean, you can kind of see all the other. And you don't see that in male sports too often. It's normally the women's sports that they get that kind of thing, the camaraderie and all that.
Right.
Yeah, that first pass was pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I loved when she scored a touchdown.
Yeah.
No, I'm joking.
You mean a field goal? Well, I guess a touchdown too. Yeah, I guess that's both.
I guess. Yeah. I don't know. Gymnastics is cool. I like the girly sports. That's me. Anyway,
I like watching good sports. Like,
yeah.
That's how I got into soccer. Was I got up early on a Saturday morning and I was like, wow, I could tell these two teams are really good. And that's why I'm a Manchester City fan.
That's not why you're a Manchester City fan.
Why am I a Manchester City fan?
Because you took a Facebook quiz and it said you should be a Manchester City fan.
No, that only confirmed it.
Sure. Okay.
There's actually Facebook quizzes.
Are you a Manchester United fan?
Yeah, I'm wearing a Manchester United shirt right now.
I just wasn't sure because what are you guys in 5th place right now? Sorry. Sorry you had to be.
That's I'll say I'm a fan because Manchester United is literally the only soccer team I know of. The only time I ever really watch it is when it's like the World Cup, and then they're not.
Yeah, they don't play
teams. Yeah, they're just countries. So I have no idea what actual soccer teams are.
It's okay.
It's kind of one of those things.
Don't worry, you can take a Facebook quiz poll and figure out what team you should root for.
Nice. I'll be sure to figure out what Lord of the Rings character I am too. I'm curious whether I'm a Gandalf or a Samwise Gamgee.
Do they have a quiz for everything?
I'm sure they do. There was like a fad for a while where it was like, found out what character of X TV show are you? And then there was like 1,000 of those going around. Like, I don't know. That's like old school Facebook though, before it was like a tool for fascism.
Yeah.
So, yeah, remember when it was fun before it was influencing our democracy? Yeah.
Let's make Facebook great again.
Speaking of which, let's move to the main topic. Segue.
So our main topic today is America really great? Some would say yes. Maybe, I guess. I mean, I see a lot of people who really into America. If you've ever been to Walmart, there's a lot of them there. Not to get into stereotypes, I'm sorry. But yeah, so we didn't do a ton of research, so we're probably just going to go off the top of our heads. America, just like America, we didn't do a ton of research into anything before we made decisions.
Well, we're all Americans.
We're all Americans.
A whole lot of research.
We know how much our country sucks more than anyone.
I just think a lot of times I hear the rhetoric of either we're going to make America great again, or if America was X, Y, and Z, it would be great. So I just think it's interesting that
Right.
we have this conversation about making America great, and there's a lot of different perspectives on what is greatness, what is American history, rewriting American history,
Right.
all that kind of stuff. So.
I guess if you define greatness by how many times you can end the world with nuclear weapons and how much we spend on our military budget, then we're number one. But
hey, we're number one in mass murders as well. So.
yes, prison incarceration, we got that.
Yeah, incarceration. Yeah, we're winning in that category.
Yep.
That's hashtag freedom. Mass incarceration, hashtag freedom, hashtag privatized prisons, hashtag money, capitalism. I don't know. so
if anybody's seen their my favorite band, The Killers, just put out a song yesterday with a video.
That was so good.
They touch on all of these things that we think make America so great.
I was really surprised about that because the Killers were like used to be kind of conservative. I remember they were like threw a fuss about like when Green Day put out like that American Idiot album. They're like, this is un-American. I'm like, oh, they've evolved. That's cool. I like that. And it was a really good video. I nearly put that on the. Actually, I think I was going to put that on the. Oh,
we can put it in the show notes now.
We could, yeah. It's a really good video.
I didn't get to see that yet. I saw you post something about it, but I didn't watch it yet.
The video was actually done by Spike Lee, so that's pretty sweet that it's a Spike Lee joint. But all of the footage is from basically border footage, and basically the song is about we talk about how our country is so great, but we struggling with all these things, including incarceration. We have more people incarcerated than the rest of the world. Mm-hmm. What was the other thing that they touch on in there? Guns. We've got a problem with guns, and basically just laid all these issues out about how we think our country is so great, and we're trying to protect our country and our dreams from grubby little hands. But that's what makes our country great is the inclusiveness that we've had in our past, not the exclusivity that we've had in our past.
Yep. Like, I complain about America a lot, but that is, like, if I was making a list of what's good about that country, it's like our diversity and the amount of different cultures that have come together to create this country.
And every time our country has come together.
Yeah, those are the good things.
You look at 9/11, when our country came together post 9/11. Obviously, there's some crappy things that happened after that as well, when you talk about war and all that kind of stuff. But it's pretty galvanizing, when you go through some pretty crappy situations like that as well.
Yeah.
So to say that, is America really that great? I think it is. Are we better than anybody else? I don't think so. But it all got us. We're all in this situation right now, talking to each other, and we have, obviously we're pretty privileged white straight men, obviously. But
go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off.
There are good things and there are bad things, obviously.
I look at America as better than most, but probably not a top tier place to live as far as like human rights and base happiness goes, which is fine. I guess America is great in the fact that there's so many worse places, but I guess I don't use that as like a metric for greatness, just because we have clothes on our backs and can eat and live somewhat pretty decent lives.
Yeah,
I guess maybe I'm just being idealistic, but I think that greatness, we should at least be keeping up with the rest of the world when it comes to human rights and taking care of its citizens. And, the fact that I still don't have health and can't afford health insurance to this day is, I guess, testament to that. And I don't know.
Those are the kind of things that, in my mind, make a country great, not being the richest or having the richest individuals or,
Yeah.
Caleb, you got thoughts?
What do you think? How great is America on a scale of 1 to 20 Eagles with AK-47s?
So I would say of the three of us, based on this, I'm probably the more negative when it comes to my opinions on America. I think if you, as Chase said, if you are a white man, it's probably great. If you are, a black man or a black woman or anyone in the LGBTQ community or a Native American or an illegal immigrant, it's probably not so great.
Yep.
And there's, a lot of our history is pretty dark. We're the only country in the world that has dropped a nuclear bomb. We dropped 2 of them. Our parents were alive when black people couldn't vote. Yep. So there's just a lot of darkness that we tend to gloss over and just think, oh, we're great. We had George Washington and Abraham Lincoln, but we had Abraham Lincoln because we had slaves for 400 plus years. So, I'm just...
I absolutely agree with you. I was just trying to be I was trying to be soft so that everyone doesn't immediately shut off this podcast.
That's okay.
Well, and the other thing is, it's like every other country has... Other country that has any sort of history has darkness in their history. So it's easy to get hung up on those things and say we aren't so great. But we've got to also, rise above those things and get past it.
And I think that's part of the problem, whereas most places in Europe have taken really sharp turns away from their darker histories. We're kind of just like, but was it really that bad?
It wasn't so bad. It's pretty cool.
That bad. Let's put up our old, racist flags. That's fun.
Yeah.
Well, nationalism and populism is on the rise in European countries as well, so we're not alone in that fact.
Well, yeah, that's definitely a problem. It's still just, I guess it's not a controlling factor in the government yet. And at the very least, I'm still amazed that, even some of the conservative parties in Europe were like, oh yeah, of course we have to have healthcare for people. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Obviously I think the Tories in Britain are awful, but one of the talking points they used for Brexit were like, hey, let's give the money we're giving to the European Union to NHS, which is their healthcare system, and they use that as in their campaign ads. Imagine if a right-wing party did that here, their entire base would leave them because they suggested we might take care of poor people.
Yeah.
And maybe that is ridiculous.
That's one of the biggest things that I just don't understand is how we can't figure out healthcare.
Yeah.
Well, when we believe capitalism is God and we believe that healthcare is part of capitalism as opposed to a right.
Yeah.
I think that's part of
I understand. Yeah, I understand the argument, but I just don't understand how you can look at these millions of people in our country.
We can spend
trillions suck it out of
healthcare. Yeah.
We can spend trillions on like military pet projects that will probably never get used, but we can't take care of people's healthcare. And I feel like we're like one of the only countries, sort of first world countries, that's just so stuck up on not having healthcare or finding a solution.
We need to build a wall.
Yeah,
I'd have to Google it, but I'm pretty sure we are the only one. I can't think of any modern civilization.
Right. There might be maybe some random country, really small European countries we don't know about, but I think every major one that I can think of has some kind of better healthcare system than we do.
Yeah, we have a terrible healthcare system.
Yeah, it's just
I work for a nonprofit, so part of my job is to I help people who don't have money to pay for their rent or utilities and things like that. And the number one reason why people can't pay for their rent and utilities is their health care. Yep. Their prescription costs are too high, or they broke their leg and they were out of work for 3 weeks and they have now $3,000 worth of medical bills.
Yep.
So
I'm lucky enough that I have been able to get away with not having health care for a lot of my life. If I had a medical condition at a young age and had to do that while working, when I worked minimum wage, I have no idea how that would have been physically possible.
Yeah.
When I made minimum wage, I had to have multiple roommates and I still lived off top ramen. So I don't get it.
You're not alone either.
Yep.
Nope, I deal with those people every day. Unfortunately.
Yeah, it's sad. I guess thankfully I was straight, white, and male enough to rise up above it.
Those bootstraps, right?
Yeah, I know. just because random people took like chances on me. I mean, that's what it comes down to. I mean, yeah, I went back to school, but I know a lot of people when I worked in food service who was just as smart as me, if not smarter than me, and they're pretty much still where they at.
Yeah.
But most of them aren't white and male, so
Yeah.
And I definitely have no. I mean, there was a point when I moved to Michigan actually where I didn't have a job, but I still managed to rent a place, and my landlord literally told to my face that he rented to me because I was white. Because it was in Dearborn, which is like a very like Arab area,
Yeah.
and she was like, I really didn't want to have because the landlord lived below me, so like I'm sick of renting to Arabs. I hate their music and their culture. I want to rent to you because you're white, and I'm like,
But don't worry, white privilege isn't real.
Yep. The guy was really creepy too. I'd pay rent and he had like brass knuckles and stuff on the table. I think he was into some shady stuff. I only stayed there 6 months because after that I pretty much was like, well, it's either this or nothing, and so I got out as soon as I could. But yeah, moving without a job is hard. So don't do that.
For sure.
Moving out of
Doing
state
anything
without a job. Yeah. I mean, I was like, I found one in a month, so it wasn't a big deal, but yeah, it was one of those situations where you really sort of start to become aware of your privilege, because it was like, yeah, if I was black, if I was Arab or anything else, that probably wouldn't have worked out for me, because no one's going to look at me and like think, oh, he seems nice, let's take a chance on him, because everyone just immediately assumes the worst, where everyone just sort of assumes the best just because of how I look, which doesn't really seem fair. So
No.
America.
Yeah.
So yeah, so check our privilege, boys. Because we're a bunch of filthy SJWs. Or
What's the way forward?
W?
What's the way forward if
Social
social
justice
justice
warriors.
America is not so great?
way forward is probably just not being complacent and apathetic to like what's going on, actually voting for people who are bringing change and getting involved in stuff yourself. Like the amount of people who are just like, well, I don't really like either candidate, so I'm just not going to vote. Last election was like astounding.
Yep.
Well, and I even think just recognizing our history,
Yeah.
you know, like our actual history, not the nice, pretty one where we're the good guys in every situation. Because
Right.
we weren't always the good guy in every situation, and that's fine to admit that. You know, it doesn't mean we're terrible, but it does mean that maybe
Right.
we need to make amends for the wrongs that we have done, so that we can move forward. I think is a huge, tiny step, but a huge one.
I mean, look at like Germany and like Japan and stuff who've like acknowledged their history and like, hey, let's be better instead of
You
trying.
know what? They don't have any
Germany.
Nazi statues. They don't have any Nazi statues.
That's a
in
great
Germany.
example.
Its swastikas are actually illegal to display in Germany. Like, like people
I would be okay if I, was
does
here
something,
too.
Yeah.
does something that drastic and that sad have to happen before we realize?
Well, but things like that have pretty much already happened. I mean, we had the Japanese concentration camps.
Mm-hmm.
We had Wounded Knee. We had, multiple things. We dropped A-bombs in Japan and killed God knows how many innocent people. So
and now
But not the scale and concentration of Germany.
Sure. Close.
yeah, I mean, a lot of it is like opportunity and what like people in power here can get away with.
Yep.
And
I
we're
hope to
putting
God we
kids in
don't have to
cages
have
and
that.
people are dying in custody. To me, that's like shows all the intent that if Trump thought he could get away with doing something like the Holocaust, it wouldn't surprise me if he would consider it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't agree with the whole situation at all, but I at least can understand why they're doing it, because they're trying to take that hard stance on immigration. But with Nazi Germany, it was, we think our race is the master race and we need to clean the world of this filth. There's a difference, I guess.
Well, they
Maybe
it's more
maybe
subtle than that
retrospective.
because they blamed the Jews on all their problems with their economy and everything. And to them, it was like the Jewish problem, and that was something that a lot of the early Nazis campaigned on and spoke of at their rallies, was like what these people are doing to this country, and it's very similar to how we are speaking about Mexican immigrants. So to me, it's not really that far off. It's just what we see now with this administration. This is like pre-World War II, pre-Holocaust Germany. Yeah. It's the same warning signs, but it hasn't gotten to the terrible extent. But it's
not
still
there yet.
Yeah. And I hope that, like, you know, there's enough people of goodwill in this country. And I mean, to put it bluntly, Trump is so stupid. I don't think he could get away with what Hitler got away with. Hitler was as evil as he was a lot better at getting the entire country to rally around him.
But we say Donald Trump is so stupid, though, but
I don't think he is.
I think there's a genius in there.
I think it's easy to play it off as him being stupid.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just...
And don't get me wrong.
I understand what you're saying.
He's so incoherent. Like, if he could make a sentence and have it make sense, maybe I'd believe you. It's just, he talks and I don't know what he's saying.
To Caleb's point, I feel like that's just part of his play.
Maybe, yeah.
Well, at the very least... Yeah, is he the most intelligent individual and well-spoken? No, of course not. But he's obviously done something well enough to get a lot of Americans on his side. So you can't say he's completely unintelligent.
I'll give you that. I do think a lot of that is probably more to do with the people he hired for his campaign. Because he hired people who I think are straight evil, but a lot smarter, like Stephen Miller and Bannon.
Steve Bannon.
Yeah, those guys actually come off as intelligent, just really soulless. And
just don't hire anybody named Steve. They're just all evil.
Oh, Steve Miller gives me the creeps every time I look at him. Steve?
I don't think I have any friends named
Steve. And you better not get any.
Yeah, never trust them. I wonder if the name like Donald is just gonna like stop being in use for like the next few
I hope
decades.
I don't know any Donalds right now, anyways.
Yeah, just kill the name even more.
Our president, but individual number one.
Individual number one. 45. I like to call him.
How is he our president? I saw you had that in some of our possible talking points.
How did a Simpsons joke become real? An idea that was so ridiculous that it was a joke on The Simpsons is now a reality, and I can't even. I just... Like, I understand everything about, like, you know, a right-wing revolution, all these stuff. Like, all that makes sense, but I just can't wrap my head on why Donald. Yeah. He's just...
So the next question is once we get past Donald Trump as our president, are we going to swing back to the left, or are we going to, like, normalize somewhere in the middle again? What are your guys' thoughts? Because I feel like Trump was an extreme of what Obama represented.
I mean, Obama was honestly, on the more wider political spectrum we don't really get in the United States, he would be pretty centrist.
But he was black.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, all they do is look at that one fact.
Yeah, the swing wasn't necessarily policy as much as it was...
right.
Let's be honest, color of skin and language.
What he represented.
But that's all a lot of people would look at.
Sure.
Yep.
Yeah.
But most of the hopefuls for 2020 would be considered to be to the left of Obama, which I think is interesting. And I'm actually...
What do you think is best for our country at this point?
Well, if you think part of our biggest problem is the lack of health care, you know, I would think going more left would be of a benefit.
Yeah.
The middle doesn't seem to want to address that issue.
Yeah.
They just want to keep going on the path we're going.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of the sort of centrist Democrats is mostly like, let's just keep things the same. Let's not make anything worse. I feel like a lot of the party is just like focusing on let's not let the Republicans destroy things, but let's keep things the same, and there's less on actually making things better. But I've been really encouraged by a lot of these younger people who are entering the Democratic Party, like Alexandria, what's her name? The girl from New York, Cortez. Oh, I love her so much. She's my favorite person on Twitter right now. And yeah, there's a bunch of like just newer people coming in that just seem to actually care and want to make things better. I find that really encouraging, and I do think that is going to connect with a lot of the more sort of political people who are kind of apathetic to politics. Because when you actually look at what our demographics are, it is more left-leaning people than right-leaning people. The problem is that they just don't all vote because they don't care or they don't like either party. And I just talked to
let's be honest, the biggest problem we have is the Electoral College. Because if we didn't have the Electoral College, Donald Trump wouldn't have been our president.
I sort of understand why it existed, but the mere fact that it didn't prevent Trump from being elected shows that it's useless.
The only reason
it was manipulated.
The only reason it was instilled by the founding fathers is because they couldn't agree on anything, and they both sides hated the Electoral College, so they said, well, let's just go with this because it makes nobody happy.
My understanding, I believe it was in some of Hamilton's work, is that he had sort of laid it out as being a fail-safe to protect against foreign intrusion, and they were kind of worried about like Britain and whatnot, so that there should be a way to stop someone from manipulating democracy, which is literally the exact thing that happened.
Thanks, Facebook.
Yeah. So literally, the exact reason the thing that the Electoral College was put in place to prevent happened. So now I feel like even that, the only argument there ever was for it, even though it was already something that no one really liked, like you said, is now a complete moot point. So I don't see any possible argument for keeping it around anymore.
Is anybody even arguing to do away with it, though? I've not heard much.
There's...
I'm sure there's somebody.
I don't remember the person's name, but some representative who was just recently elected just put in a bill proposing to get rid of the Electoral College. I don't think it'll go anywhere because, the Constitution is the Bible and you can't touch that with a 18-foot pole. So, but I think the theory behind it worked hundreds of years ago, but I think right now the theory of it doesn't work because you're giving more weight to these smaller states as opposed to having each individual vote count.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, and I don't know. I mean, I think there's a chance to get rid of it, but I don't think the only way we're going to get rid of it is if the Democrats take back everything, because...
Well, but it's not. I mean, to amend that, it's not just Congress.
Right.
I mean, you have to have Congress, you have to have the president, and you also have to have 2/3 of the majority of your voting populace.
Right. Yeah, that's kind of what I meant. Like, take back everything, because it's got to be president, Congress.
Well, but my assumption is, I don't know. I haven't polled, Republicans, but I can't imagine that many Republicans think it's a great idea. Well, I think a lot of people don't like it.
Oh yeah, dude, Republicans are totally for it.
Are they?
Yeah, because without the electrical, they've won twice now only because of the Electoral College. The Electoral College is one of the few things that will give rural areas voices, because otherwise the big cities, the big liberal cities, would completely railroad the...
But the part that I hate about that phrasing is you still have your voice. It's not...
you
still have a voice.
It's just not amplified.
You just don't have as strong. You don't have a higher voice than the people in larger cities, because you have 30 people in the rural cities, in the rural town voting, and then you have 30 people in the large city voting. So it's not like they have more power.
Yeah. I'm not saying I agree with it, but that's the argument they'll use, is because they know that literally they won't be able to get some of these crazy people elected if there wasn't something like the Electoral College. Honestly, at this point, I mean, a lot of Republicans, I feel like a lot of it's just complete hypocrisy, a lot of their ideology, and it's more about, we're okay with this if it gets us elected. And I keep seeing more and more of that, and there's so many people who, if a Democrat had done half the stuff that Trump did, like, they would have been all over it, because Trump, and he's going to give them conservative Supreme Court justices, and he's going to rubber stamp some of their policies. They're just like, oh, it's okay now.
Yeah, but to be fair, you see that on both sides. I mean, you're always gonna root for your home team,
right?
and overlook their issues because they're your team. So
there's some of that. I just feel it's a lot more prevalent in the Republicans, and I just hate the term both sides right now, just because I feel like there's no equivalency between the two right now. I feel like we have one party that's kind of crummy, and then one party that's just like full on literally wants to completely damage our country and the world if you bring into stuff like climate change and all that.
They just want to oppose everything that the other side is,
like
that they stand for.
I mean, I don't consider myself a Democrat because I think they're way too centrist and don't want to really change anything. But I still feel that there's a good deal of goodwill there, whereas I don't really see that on the other side. I wish there was like two parties with like goodwill again. And as I said, I can at least respect, even though I completely disagree with like libertarian philosophies. I feel like there's at least in that section of people, there's at least people who are of goodwill and think that what they want will better the country, even though I think they're crazy. But that's another story.
Hey, now.
Sorry.
That's Ron Swanson you're talking about.
Ron Swanson. Yeah, I guess my point is I don't see, at least especially when it comes to stuff like minorities and the gay community and stuff, I don't see like as much bigotry and hate. They're just like, free market will save everything. And like, well, I don't disagree with that. I wish that was the other party instead of what we have now. And I feel like there could be a lot more common ground, a lot more coming together if one side wasn't completely just.
Well, that's always the way forward.
Yeah,
that's always the way forward, is to have common ground, to negotiate and meet in the middle, meet in the aisle. That's the way forward.
I just don't see how that can be possible when one side is just so draped in bigotry right now. When like elected officials can say, "Oh, what's wrong with white nationalism?" and that's an actual quote from somebody. Like how do you find common ground when there's people all across the aisle saying stuff like that? And I hope we can get to. I just don't see much hope for like the Republican Party. I hope that maybe it can moderate at some point, but part of me kind of just hopes it collapses and like like the Whig Party did, and then a more sane conservative party takes its place.
Well, and I think if we got rid of the Electoral College too, then you could have more of a two. You don't have to have a two-party system. The Electoral College, you have to have a two-party system. So it would be nice to not have it forced that way, where you can have more middle. You can have your extremes and your middles and your other extremes.
I think we'll need ranked voting along with that, though, for that ever to really take off. And I know there's what state was that just sort of did that last election? I can't remember which state it was, but I know there was a big thing because.
It's not like Utah or something?
I thought it was somewhere on the East Coast. Maybe I'm wrong. I could be wrong, but I know like the like exiting governor threw a fit, and when he signed the election, he put like "stolen election" on like the forum he signed or whatever, and there was like a big thing with that. But I think that's the way to go forward to actually make more than two parties, because as long as people don't view those parties as having a shot, they're never really going to go anywhere. And as long as they're viewed as that, they're also not really going to get serious candidates. It's kind of like there's so many kind of crazies in the Libertarian and Green Party right now, just because most of the people who are serious about politics with those views will just sort of run as someone within the Democrat or Republican Party that has those views.
But they don't have a chance because of the Electoral College.
Right.
I mean, you have to get rid of the Electoral College in order to have it more than a two-party system.
That too.
Because you have to have a certain number of votes in the Electoral College to be elected. You can't split those 3 or 4 ways. You can only split them 2 ways.
Yeah, I'm just saying I think it needs to be more than that, because I think just getting rid of that's not going to get rid of the stigma that voting for third parties throwing your vote away, because in some ways it kind of is.
But it's throwing your vote away in an Electoral College system. I think if you get rid of the system, people will recognize, I have more choices.
Maybe.
But you don't have, unfortunately, you don't have a choice with a third party in an electoral college. That statistically
Well, yeah.
and mathematically,
I know
there's
it's
no way.
literally impossible. I just think you need to do both. I think you need ranked voting and you need the electoral college gone because then
I don't think you're ever.
because then ranked voting will actually encourage people to pick their favorite without having to worry about am I giving X crazy person a vote by not voting against the person who's most likely to win, and then you can actually vote. So then you could put your Green Party number one if you are like really left wing, and then you could put your Democrat, and then you could put the Republican way at the bottom if that was the person you really didn't want to win the least, and that way everyone would actually vote who they wanted to vote without having that sort of concern that they're throwing away their vote. And I think that's the most logical system to do, but I don't know if it'll ever happen. But hey, state did it, so maybe it's coming.
Yeah, I don't think anybody will want to do that because everybody, not everybody, but a lot of people just want to go in and pull that straight ticket lever and make it simple.
Right.
Which you can't do in Michigan.
Right, and now we can't. But I mean, if you make them do research, then there's gonna be uproar about there's so many people that don't want to do research. They just want to go in there and vote for their Republican or their Democrat.
Right. I mean,
see, I'm not sure you're ever going to get away from the two-party system.
it's really hard.
You
hard
just
to
have to
break.
reform the
Yeah.
parties.
I know.
If it's the
Right.
Republican Party that you don't agree with,
Mhm.
there has to be come to a reckoning point there where the Republicans realize, hey, we suck, and we need to reform.
Yeah. And
I mean, there are things about the Republican Party that work, and it's a good counterbalance to the Democratic side. But then there are parts that we've all previously stated that are pretty.
Well, like you said, you've gotten to the extreme. Unfortunately, we've gotten to extremes. So.
Yep.
And I don't think there's going to be any progress until they have to. I hope they can change because that's the easiest thing is that we just start shifting our political spectrum so it's a little bit more balanced because it feels like we're shifted further to the right than any other sort of political balance in the rest of the civilized world where our left wing is more centrist and our right wing is really right wing, would be considered close to fascist in most European
There used to be
countries.
I find myself in the middle. There used to be a time where I'd have to do research to go vote. I don't have her, and that's
I still
know how I'm going to vote.
Right. I
try to, but I always find
Right. I still do research, but then I still have been voting straight Democrat these last couple of times I've voted just because there isn't really anything else. It's more of just trying to see if, is this person really, is there a Democrat that's just so morally reprehensible that I can't vote for them? That's all I'm really looking for now because there isn't really another legit option. And I think
I go out, you go to that website where you weight your most important, values and all that kind of stuff, and it tells you, the person that you need to vote for. What's that?
Is it isidewith.com? Is that the one you're talking about?
I think that is one of them I looked at. Yeah. I mean, based on that, I always try to go check out those websites and do my research in that way, but I always find myself falling Democrat, and I don't consider myself a Democrat.
Right.
No, you don't have to.
Yep.
No, that's the thing. Is I vote Democratic.
Right.
I'm not a Democrat.
Yeah, well, I'm the same way. Except I think I'm not sure where you fall. I'm not a Democrat because I think, as I said, I think they're too centrist. I don't think they change. I think they just kind of maintain the status quo. And there's a lot of people within the party that I think are way too hungry for war and way too hungry for maintaining our prison racist systems of institutions.
I think
big business.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do think it is changing more.
Yeah.
I think the Democrats are moving more left and the Republicans are moving more right. Just as far as their rhetoric is concerned, not necessarily maybe voting populace.
I think I think with the Democrat, it's more of the stars. They've been getting a lot of sort of stars of the Democratic Party that are definitely going to the left. But on the
but that then tells you where you're headed.
Yeah.
If your biggest and loudest voices are going this way, then that's what the party will eventually do.
That's encouraging. 'Cause I think honestly, it's more of just sort of course correcting from where we were before sort of the new Democrat Democrats sort of post-Reagan came out, where they decided that, hey, we need to appeal more to conservatives, and then we started sort of getting like the Clintons and the Al Gores and the sort of kind of moderate, we're going to support certain conservative values but still be Democrats.
Newt Gingrich. He was
A
the
psychopath.
at the end.
So yeah, I'm way more hopeful that the Democratic Party is going to improve, because I see so many young people that I'm actually with, and I hear a lot of people that I actually like. There's tons of crotchety old Democrats that I can't stand, but it's not the future of the party, and it's not everyone. Well, I'm not gonna probably identify as a Democrat. I see myself probably voting that way for a long way to come, unless there's another party that's better that comes along and we get out of the two-party system, as you said. But that's how the cookie crumbles. Yep. That's how the cookie crumbles.
That's how the cookie crumbles.
That's how the cookie crumbles. Ron Burgundy. Channel whatever he was. Was he Channel 4? I don't remember.
Channel 4.
Channel 4.
Yep.
Action
Channel
News.
4 News. Panda Watch.
Oh, that's a good... Now I want to watch that movie now. That's such a good movie.
I have it on my Plex.
Excellent. Yeah, I think we've been going on for over an hour. Do you guys have anything more to add, or should we kind of call it a night?
I'm feeling pretty good.
I wonder how many
I'm sorry,
podcast viewers we left.
Our country's screwed up. I feel good.
We need to set up an email so people can send death threats to me.
Yeah.
I don't know if we're big enough to get death threats yet.
That's the dream.
That's how you know you've made it.
Exactly. That's how you know you've made it, is when people threaten to kill you and everyone you love on Twitter.
I'm pretty sure that's true.
Yeah.
I think that's how that works.
Kind of mean in some ways. I mean, it's sad, but it kind of means you're doing something right. If people,
No, I'd
care that
say
much.
you've made it when you get the death threats and then don't get killed. Then you've
There
made
you
it.
go. Because
if you get killed, then
yeah, you didn't
didn't
make it. Didn't make it.
Then you're sainted. You're not sainted.
yeah, you're the martyr.
Podcast Martyrs. And we've
That's a
formed
good name for a podcast.
the Dead
Podcast
Podcasters.
martyrs.
Yes. It's a very quiet podcast because we're all dead.
Or you just you talk about all the martyrs in history. That'd be kind of interesting.
That's
to
interesting.
talk about.
Maybe we can go through some of that in some future segments. So yeah, but we just thought this would be a great way to sort of kick off our more full-fledged episode by talking about stuff that'll probably offend a lot of people. So
You know what they say, the best way to get an audience is to stir up some controversy.
it's true, and at least now you won't get invested in the show and then get really pissed off later and then quit it. Now you know how this is going to be up front.
We're all liberals.
Those damn social justice warriors and their feminism.
So now you know, one episode in.
Oh,
Get your silo.
exactly. Also, I love The Last Jedi, and the new season of Doctor Who with the female Doctor is really good. And you all can suck it, nerds.
You said that on the last episode too,
need to
didn't
watch
you?
that.
Did I?
Yeah.
Oh, yes, it's so good. And the exact... Okay, I'm not going to talk about the story. The exact same thing happened with Rotten Tomatoes as happened with The Last Jedi. The user rating for the most recent season of Doctor Who is 20% users, and then
really?
critics is 90%. So it's just The
Oh,
Last
wow.
Jedi all over again.
That's a big swing, yeah.
Yep, if you look at any Doctor Who videos, all just these social justice warriors are ruining Doctor Who with their diversity cast and their female doctors.
What is the critic rating on Last Jedi?
I think it's 90 something and then 25. So it's pretty similar.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So it's
I love
all
it.
the angry nerds who can't
I
stand
love it.
women and
Caleb, what did you think of Last Jedi?
I loved it.
yeah.
I mean, there were things that I was like, eh. But you have that with any movie. But
It's not a perfect movie.
No.
The original trilogy was not perfect.
No movie's
but-
perfect. And just I guess it doesn't offend me that people criticize The Last Jedi. It's more the reasons people are criticizing it. And 90% of the time it's something sexist or racist.
I just figure if I can walk out and I enjoyed it,
Yeah.
and, entertained me, it's a good movie. That's good enough.
Yep.
Yeah, quit making movies sacred. It's a movie.
Yeah. If you didn't like it, wait for the next one. I'm sure there'll be another one with a white.
It's
white
okay
male
that
for
you didn't like it. It's okay.
You have to burn all your Star Wars merchandise.
Not everyone has to like every movie.
Denounce your fandom.
Yep, but I put that as one of the future episodes. I hope we get to talk about that. But hopefully, I want to try when we actually talk about like, misogyny and sexism within fandoms. I'm hoping we can actually get someone who's not a straight white male to come on too. Just because I feel like we're not entirely qualified. So that's.
Oh, I think that's a great idea.
So I know there's someone here. When I was picking the ones I wanted, there was some that like these would be good, but I feel like we should have someone from this particular group or whatever that can talk about it as well. So we're not just 3 woke white dudes with opinions.
Who's woke?
We all woke, man.
What are you calling woke?
We woke. We woke, guys. Yeah, I'm just saying there's a
Can
lot.
you call yourself woke?
I can call myself woke, can I?
No.
Woke.
No.
Hashtag
you
blessed.
No.
Hashtag blessed and woke.
I'm on the record as no. If you're a white person and you're saying you're woke, you're
Can't
not
do
woke. It's just how it is.
Okay.
3 woke males. That's the name of our podcast.
Nope. I do not
3
sign off on
white
that.
pale males who are woke.
Nope.
So much wokeness.
I'm so awoke.
My point was there's tons of podcasts with white dudes talking about opinions on things. So I'm hoping that we can get people who are not that from time to time. So we're not just 3 white dudes talking about things. Boom. Awesome. All right. Anyone else got anything to say?
That's weird.
You look confused there, Caleb.
Well, I moved my Skype panel, and then there was a heart that was beating, and it threw me off.
That's mine. That was my heart.
I know. Why it is on your heart, and I can't figure that out.
Because you love me.
Oh, I can give you a thumb. Ooh, I didn't know you can like. I'm learning all new things. See?
I didn't even know what you're talking about.
See, I just put a heart.
Oh yeah, I see it now.
I didn't know you could do that.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I think it was in the last update. Yeah, we're just talking about
thanks
Skype
for trying
now
to be Facebook.
I don't know. Yeah, I think we should wrap this up before it gets more off the rails. So yeah, I guess more off the rails. So we will be back at some point with another episode. We're not sure yet, but I ask that you do 2 things. And that's like us on iTunes. I mean, not like us. Rate us on iTunes. Give us 5 million stars and subscribe there. And subscribe on YouTube and do all those things. I want you to smash that like button as hard as you can, because that's the really
find us on all the social media.
Find us and like us and follow us.
Interact with us if you have things you want us to talk about. Let us know.
You can call me bad words and I won't be mad.
Yep. You can call Caleb bad word.
I'm down.
If you send me insulting tweets, I will print them and put them on my wall. Because
if you send me insulting tweets, I'll probably retweet them.
And I will just sip my water and where did it go? Oh. I was going to compare the water to tears of people who don't like the podcast, but never mind.
It's edgy.
I can't do the object lesson now because it's gone. So that's all I got. You guys got anything? Or are we good?
Nope.
All right.
We're good.
Tune in next time and we'll be back for more of this. And I apologize.
Yes.
All right.
It was fun, guys.
Have a good night.
3 non-woke dudes talking.
All right. Adios, guys.
See ya.
Right.